we've got Bella Spatafor, Evan Boffin, and myself, Chase Brown, here on the very first stream of the Cheap Seats. How are we doing today, guys? All things considered.
Doing good. How about you?
Hey, not too bad. Hanging in there. Life's going good. One thing that I know that we do need in times in the world, in times of like tragedy or turmoil or anything kind of going on in the world, what the world definitely needs more of is podcasts. Because there's not enough podcasts going around. There aren't many. So we figured we'd throw our names into the pit here and figure out what's going on. So the Cheap Seats Network is what you're going to be seeing every show run on. If you see me and Evan on Nobody's Home talking about wrestling one day, or if you see me and Adam talking on creative differences about some movies one day, or if you see me and Bella, I don't know, maybe doing like a Bachelor recap at some point in time, all of that's going to happen under the Cheap Seats umbrella. But this show is the Cheap Seats. Basically, we're just looking to get closer to the action. So we're going to talk about all the things that we're interested in, what we like. The show is a general conversation show, so there's no specific really genre to it. We're going to talk about movies, TV, life, probably entertainment, sports, all that good stuff. And I'm glad to be doing it with the two of yous. So I don't know. I know things have been going on lately in the world. Evan, how have you been just like keeping yourself busy? How have you been, just like existing the past like several weeks?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think it's a good way to put it. I've just been existing. Like, I have been locked in my apartment playing video games, trying to do my best to do some new things. I'm cooking a little bit more. Trying to. I ordered books for the first time. Like that's.
Have you read them?
No, they're coming. They're not here yet. I ordered them. So yeah, I got all the Game of Thrones books. I'm gonna try to crank through those. But literally,
those are thick reads. I'll tell you that. Those are thick books. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how much free time I have that I ordered.
But if you hunker down, they're fun. Yeah, they're fun. They're fun though.
That's what I've heard. Heard good things.
Very good. Anything else? Are you anything else you've been?
I wish I could give you more entertaining things to go off of, man. But
no new hobbies. You're not trying to get into like claymation or like
straight towards claymation. That's
no claymation. The one thing that I have been setting my mind to is, like I said, I play a lot of video games, but I've been trying to competitively rank in said video games.
Oh, so which ones are you playing?
I play a lot of Overwatch, in which I'm not very good at. And I do a lot of like online competitive Pokemon battling, which is another fun thing that I've always been into. So I've been trying to they basically have like ranking systems for them. So I just been trying to win as many matches or battles that I can.
Have you gone high up in anything? Like, have you ranked any?
A while ago when I was in college, I played the Pokemon battling a lot, and I got pretty high up on. It's called so they have different tiers. Guys go into different tiers. It's really complicated, but it's basically just like the best Pokemon are in the top tier.
That's flexed on us.
Yeah, and that's called overused tier. And so I was like top 100 at one point in the world for the overused tier.
In the world?
It's on their battle simulator, so like it's by their standards. So whoever was playing in that battle simulator.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm trying to actually do something productive, but
honestly, it doesn't matter.
I mean, it doesn't matter right now. Now's the time to kind of be not productive, right?
It really. I'm gonna tell you right now, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're working out every day.
No.
And it doesn't matter if you're posting you working out. Anyways, I'm sorry. Please continue.
You have something to say?
The poster girl for unproductivity. Bella Spatafor. So let's see what's been going on with her. What have you been dealing with? I know, and if you listen to Nobody's Home on the Cheap Seats Network, Evan and I talked about how we were supposed to go to WrestleMania 36 this year. We were supposed to have a romping good time in WrestleMania in Tampa this year. Amid all of this, Bella, you were supposed to be living in a different state.
I was packed up to leave for Los Angeles. My entire car was packed to the brim, and I was supposed to leave the Friday the 13th, right? Packed up the entire. I had said goodbye to all my friends and family. It was all
It's true.
packed, and then around 3:30 a.m., about 2 hours before I was to depart to Los Angeles, I made the last minute decision to not go, and then shit hit the fan within I swear that the Friday the 13th was the day that it was like people are gonna start quarantining and locking down, and things are gonna shut down, and yeah, so shit hit the fan real quick, but I mean, it's probably for the best, that I didn't go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad. I'd rather have you on. I guess I'd rather have you on lockdown, at your in the comfort of your own home, rather than a foreign city, quote unquote. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
agree.
I think a kind of a nice thing worked out there. But yeah, everything
Yeah.
kind of hit that shit hit the fan that weekend.
Yeah, I did.
As for myself, I've been watching a lot of Canadian teenage dramas. Degrassi: The Next Generation. I zoomed through the series. I'll have to figure out exactly how many episodes of the series. I think it's around 350 or so.
How do you feel about that? How
Um,
does it make you feel about yourself?
I'll tell you this much. I used to watch Degrassi back in the day.
Yeah.
I have an older sister, 6 years older than me, who it was very popular with. She loved Degrassi. That was her shit. So I would watch too, and it was also my shit. And then when I revisited, I was just so surprised at how much I was remembering, how much just the themes and the episodes and the plots and the characters, all that. I was just oh yeah, that's this, whatever. So for the first I don't know, 8 seasons or so, you had the original cast that they started off with. You still have Aubrey Graham, Drake, who's around at that point. He was in the show for the first 8 seasons, which I really didn't realize.
8 seasons.
He was 8 out of 14. Yeah, I thought it was Drake, the hip hop artist, Aubrey Graham. He starred in the Canadian because he's from Toronto. He starred in the Canadian teenage drama Degrassi: The Next Generation. Is that a series you're familiar with, Evan? Degrassi: The Next Generation?
Yeah, I know of it, but
okay,
never
of it. He knows of it.
Yeah.
Basically, it's just a long run after school special. There's things with, I think the pilot episode is about online false people in chat rooms, catfishers and shit. That was the pilot episode of Next Generation. Stuff about abuse, all that sort of stuff, race, all these things get worked into play during this long show. And I watched about 400 episodes of it the past month, so feeling pretty charged up.
Did you say 400?
Close to, yeah. Since
what is that time wise? What is that equivalent to?
How many hours?
No, I want to know minutes.
Do you want to know specific minutes?
Yeah.
Hours. I would say it's ballpark around 200 hours, but less than around 200 hours, but less. I'd say probably closer to 190, maybe.
Well, here's a good question for that discussion then. Did watching it did you watch the whole series?
I watched the entire series.
Did watching it in that way make it better than it would be? It's absurd.
Don't enable him.
No, I have to.
Did watching it in that way
did it make it better than it would have been if you watch it one episode per week?
I'll tell you this.
It was back then.
Yes.
I'll tell you this. I think watching it all the way through, as fast as I did, was the best thing possible for me, rather than either watching it weekly.
Was it the best thing possible for you?
I think so. I think the fact that I'm done and over, I'm over it and I'm done with it, because I started it before I was locked. I started watching it on February 27th, and what I would do was I'd watch it at work if I didn't have anything to do, or I'd be watching it at home. That's I'll be watching at home.
Yeah.
Usually, normally I watch movies and things like that. I think I watched 16 movies over last month. And the rest of the time it was just Degrassi. But watching it that fast, I think I was able to connect things I needed to, from if there was a reference from season 1 to 9. like I was like, okay, I got that because I've just been
Yeah.
zooming past this kind of stuff. So it wasn't the worst thing of all time. There are 2 other Degrassi series out there
Well, I'd
from the
imagine
80s and 90s.
I'd imagine the
So-
Degrassi show didn't get the original title Next Generation without having.
You know, these really seem like next generation kids. It's
Yeah, like that's what they start out with. Like is the next generation. You don't know the OGs yet, but I was just wondering because I honestly, with buying my Game of Thrones books, I want to watch Game
Yeah.
of Thrones again
Okay,
after the shambles and disappointment that was the last season,
sure.
and I want to watch it one time all the way through to see if like watching it back to back improves anything, like
Hmm.
if it makes it any more.
Evan, I
reasonable.
kind of did what you're wanting to do.
What did it help at all? Like did it make up for anything?
Oh, the pain. I should have never said anything.
I know it's like reliving it. Like it's
It's just like-
PTSD.
Dude, you go through, wait, how many seasons are there now? Is it
8.
8? Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So you go through all the seasons, right? And like you're just thinking like, holy crap, there's literally no better show. And it's
Yeah.
like it's so clean. It's so well thought out. Like there's stuff that you know literally it's referenced from episode 1 season 1.
Yeah.
And like you're just like, god, like they really, like they are the most well thought writers ever. And then you know, like you remember like sitting and talking with your friends before the last season, and
Yeah.
you have all these awesome awesome theories, like and they just go on, and they would make for great television. You almost hope that they don't even happen because like they would be so awesome, but like it just seems too obvious or whatever.
Yeah.
And then so I will give the writers one thing: they didn't follow through with any of the theories.
They didn't do anything we thought they were gonna do.
They didn't do anything we were gonna thought they thought. Well, oops, I just did not. Anyways, we're just gonna rewind. Yeah, they didn't do anything that we thought, and what they did do was like, it's just. It's honestly, it feels like personal pain, and I feel like everyone can relate to that. Like they targeted each and every one of us and was like, screw you, screw everything that you know, worked for, bled for, sweated for. Like
But
they
you're right,
really did that.
that's what made the show. Like I watched it from January of last year.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Never
Like, when,
seen it.
like it seems like you. I think like it seems like it was the trek to convince you to watch the series was so much longer than like the time like it's been since you've actually watched it. So
Yeah.
you started it in January of 2019.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Got it.
You guys, all like Chase, you, Belly, everyone who had watched it, would be like, "You gotta watch this show. You gotta watch this show. You gotta watch it." And I was like, "No, I don't know. I just don't like to go with trends.
Trying to be trendy,
Yeah.
bro.
And
it's a
I'm trying
commitment,
not to be
too.
trendy.
It is a commitment, and yeah, I just don't like to go with trends." But I finally watched it, and like it lived up to every ounce of the hype that everyone ever. Like
Yeah.
I was literally like you with Degrassi was me with Game of Thrones. I watched it at work. I watched it at home. I
Listen,
watched
Evan.
it in the car when I was driving.
Are they
which is
equal?
illegal.
Listen, Evan. No one is me with the grassy anything.
405 episodes, like
Yeah, that's
whatever
that's
it was,
scary.
400 hours or whatever it was. Yeah, but I love the show, and I watched all those seasons because I wanted to be on because I knew that the last season of Game of Thrones was going to be a cultural thing.
Reset.
Like everyone was going to be in on it. It was going to be everyone on Twitter, on Instagram. So the one thing I'm glad I watched it all for was the memes because some of those memes and jokes coming out of those episodes were hilarious.
Yeah, they were gold.
Like my favorite one is the redhead that Jon Snow meet, the wildling.
Ygritte.
No, the guy.
Oh,
Tormund?
Tormund. When he says, "Is that big girl still here?" About Brienne Stark,
yeah.
and it said, I read a tweet that was like, "College guys at 2:30 a.m. in the bar. Is that big girl still here?" And I like, it was enough for to get enjoyment out of those jokes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, it was not even close to anything that was previous to it. So
But-
I want to watch it one more time through,
Right.
give them another chance. Hopefully something changes. But man,
It's we could really sit here and talk solely about season 8 for like 2 hours
Oh
easily.
yeah, we should have an exclusive Game of Thrones episode for the
No, because you
No.
know what? I think we should in the future because I have not healed from that pain yet, and it's
When
because
did-
I just completely shut it in a box and threw it
What was
away.
your entry
after it
point to the
happened.
series? Like, what was your entry point to the series?
Wait, for what?
Game of Thrones. Like, what season did you start with?
Me?
Yeah. Like,
Oh.
were you watching it like live on television? Like, the start of season 1? Did you start like
Oh,
when season 4 was airing?
I think I was around 6.
Okay, I started watching it after the 5th. I started watching it the night the 5th season aired. So I started the first season
Okay.
the night the 5th season ended, rather.
So you guys have even like years on me as far as time investment is
Yeah.
concerned.
But it doesn't
to
even
see this.
matter, Evan. It doesn't even matter.
Well, I mean, I would imagine that it doesn't matter in the end because like nothing mattered in the end. But at the
Okay,
same
all right,
time-
Lincoln. All right, Lincoln Park. Let's wrap it up here. Let's wrap it up here.
it doesn't even matter. I tried so long, I fought so hard. In the end, it doesn't matter.
When's your
No,
album coming out?
In the end.
I will say though, I haven't gone back and touched season 8 since watching each of the episodes live. I imagine that I will shortly, but there's just, I don't know. There's a lot of content out there right now, and it's just like I think I'm in the place where like I think I could go back and watch it, especially like it was a year or so ago that it started airing.
Yeah.
But there's just so much content out there right now that it's just like I'll probably have to reroute to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Chase,
okay.
I agree. I think I misunderstood what you guys were saying about watching all the way through with season 8 because I watched all, obviously, like I guess it would be similar to you, Chase, where you watched all of the seasons. And I watched Game of Thrones 4 times through without season 8.
Okay.
And I'm with you where it's like when it ended, I didn't touch it. I'd like to revisit it because I'd like to keep an open mind. It's been a year now, but like I don't know how it's going to be redeemable. Like maybe we had so much hype going into it that like we had our expectations were maybe set too high and that's why it hurt so bad. But like maybe now we're like, okay, we're in quarantine, we got shit to do, everything's gone to shit.
Yeah.
So like maybe it'll feel real good. I don't know.
It'll feel real good. Game of Thrones.
But if someone once told me just not to have expectations for anything, which is
I feel like that's
cursed.
that's terrible too.
That's impossible to do.
Oh my god, but like it's sound advice if it's possible, but
It
like
is
I just
very good
don't see how
advice.
it's possible.
It's just
Yeah.
like if I tell you right now, like, hey Bella, I'm gonna give you either $1,000, be like, you'll be pretty excited, or just like a swift
Be
kick
pretty
in the
excited.
gut.
I
Swift
Yeah.
kick in, like there's gonna be like you have expectations. Like one, a kick in the gut's gonna hurt. Two,
I'm gonna
$1,000
clench.
is pretty good. Yeah.
Expectation, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Evan, do you have that much money to give me right now, dude?
Bella, why? Why?
I don't have a job.
Yeah,
I never had a
don't
job.
either.
I'd be
Bro,
weird,
I
similar in
never
that.
had a job. Never. I almost
We are
did, and
similar
then I
in that
never
regard.
went to it.
Well, while we're still on the topic of television, I guess, Bella, you watched. I know you watched Tiger King in full recently. Evan, have you watched it at all? I know it's been like you've been hearing the buzz about it at least.
Yeah, I've heard plenty of buzz about it. I just heard
Okay.
it's insane, but I have no idea remotely what it's about.
Yeah.
I can
So-
give you a very plain synopsis of it.
What
Yeah, if you can avoid
what I would
spoilers, I
actually
appreciate that.
enjoy about I mean you watched the full thing, so I think
Yes.
I think it's time for a Bella Spatafora review here. I think it's time for
Do we have a graphic?
oh yeah, of course we have a graphic. No, we don't have the graphic. Evan. We don't have the graphic. But I'm gonna take you down a single cam here, Bella, and let's see. I just want to hear, what did you think? What did Tiger King?
Yeah.
It came out this past week, I believe, on Netflix. It's been the talk of the town. Everyone's been talking about it. What are your thoughts and your opinions on the Tiger King?
So like similar to what Evan said about not trying to indulge in like things that are like overhyped at the moment, I've pretty much tried to avoid watching it just because there's a lot of times when things circulate on Twitter and you go to see it and you're like, this is a disaster. But I don't know, Serge and I were just bored the one day, we put it on and dude, it's unlike anything I've ever seen. It's it's chaos to like the maximum, like the just the worst that you could get is what it is. And it's there's so many layers to like how I could review this, but basically it's about this guy named Joe Exotic. He lives in Oklahoma and he owns a tiger zoo, and he's extremely eccentric. He's homosexual. He's like straight up redneck. He's flamboyant, but like also very very
Our guy that you're talking about here.
yeah. That's yeah. The thing is, there is no one like him, and I've never in my whole life seen someone with so many different facets of them that just make you feel angry and excited and interested and scared. But so basically, the whole show is just Joe Exotic, and it's him owning this zoo. And it's at first I was like, I don't want to watch it because I'm like, there's probably gonna be animal abuse. Like he owns like over 230 tigers in this zoo in Oklahoma, which is just horrifying. And like you could argue that that is abuse, because I would, but I was like, I can't watch it. But what the show is a lot about is like Joe's personal life. Like he like I don't even want to get. I mean, you find out very quickly, but he has 2 husbands, and then he has this like really weird issue with some like animal rights activist people, a woman named Carol to be exact. And once you watch it, you'll get into it. But you're like, oh my god, like this woman like obviously seems like she's doing good work, and you'd support her. But then like every single character that they bring in, you just like want to argue for like them to be like redeemable and then be like the protagonists. But then they do something, or you find out something about them, and you're like, oh my god, like there's not a single person in this show that you can like defend at all. Like
Right.
it's but the layers and just the shock value, it's like that's why people are so amazed by it. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
definitely worth watching if
I
you're
mean,
like wanting to be shocked.
I see it. I mean, I see it trending in somewhat every day. People making references to it, pretty much every day since the things dropped. So what that means is that one, it was the perfect time for this thing to come out, because as soon as it did, it seemed like everybody watched it and watched it like quickly. It seemed like as soon as the references started flying before I heard of the series. That's how like kind of like ahead it was, and they just started coming. So it's definitely I did watch the first episode and a half. I'm like 1.5 into it. I did talk to Bella earlier today, and that was like kind of the last stake. And like, okay, you've seen this, like I'll give it a try. Like I don't know what to expect from it necessarily, but like Bella was saying, the guy is completely eccentric. All the characters that they introduce are
true.
very eccentric bunches. It is. I mean, I haven't. I guess I'm not at that point yet in it. Maybe I'll get to it further down the line. I haven't gotten to the point where I've necessarily like, I don't know, like found the humor in it. Like it's kind of just like a sick show.
It is sick. It is sick.
It's kind of just like gross, and kind of like a gross look into like how these people in Oklahoma or in Florida or in Iowa are like dealing with each other, and then like how these people who are like these girls who like started working for these like these like kind of like bravado huge like sex like panther, quote, like pun intended, kind of like guys who like run these zoos. They start working for them when they're like 18, have sexual relationships with them for
you could quite easily argue that it's like a cult.
Cultish for sure. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting watch. Like it's something that I think I will finish up. I just haven't found the humor in it yet.
Yeah, no, and I think that's because you see the bigger picture of how, if you like, because Joe makes it easy to be humorous, because it's like, look at this guy, he owns 200 something tigers in a sequin shirt. Yeah, and he has like eyeliner on. But like the thing is, if you really like genuinely like stand back and think about what's going on, it's it's disgusting. It's sad. It's like it's pretty much like a relative to like mob activity. It's just their version of it. And I have to say, like Evan, you haven't watched it, Chase, you haven't finished it, but I don't want to say this, but like the last 2 episodes really do leave like a bad taste in your mouth because you get to like probably around episode 2, 3, and 4 at peaks, and you're like, holy crap, this is where the craziness happens. I'm so surprised that this even happened, or we never heard about this, blah, blah, blah.
Mm.
And then it's just like there's a come down after, and then the reality sets in, and you're like, okay, this doesn't seem funny or interesting anymore. Like these are people's lives, and think of the animals and stuff like that. And and when you watch it, you'll understand. But it because I think because I personally experienced that come down, it made me a little irritated to see people glamorizing and like really just like supporting some of these people in the show, because it's like you shouldn't be doing this. Like these people are sincerely not good people.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
And yeah, that's pretty much the name of the game as far as that series goes. It's definitely an interesting watch. They've already been talking like heavily pretty much online. There's been actors like Edward Norton or like Dax Shepard who's like, I would play this guy in a movie.
Yeah,
Like,
which is like unsettling
like
to hear.
like cast me in a movie and I'll like play this guy as a lead.
Yeah.
So I think this is definitely something that has like, I don't know if it's just the fact that everyone's inside right now, or if this thing does have staying power, but I guess we'll be talking about it in like a year or two if this thing like actually happens. They get a movie made out of this
Mhm.
with these caliber of actors.
Yeah.
Because people have been like throwing around like fan castings even and things like that. So it's all really a really interesting situation surrounding the whole series. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you think about it too, it's a lot of the times the most people, like the most, influential individuals sometimes are those kind of people who are crazy like that. Like
Yeah.
you saw like what the Manson family did when they
100%.
like it just creates an interesting like cult following almost of these, like you said, Belle, like heinous acts that people commit,
Mhm.
but people like still idolize them. They still like revere them, and they become like almost cultural icons in a way because of maybe their personality. But sometimes that personality and that charisma can also lean the other way, and you get,
Yeah.
like you said, like you peel back that one layer of like, oh wow, he's so like, engaging and charismatic, and then it's like, oh wait, all this stuff going on is crazy messed up.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. And I think, like I really won't say anything because I would never spoil it. But you meet Joe in the first episode, and you're like, oh my god, like this guy, like he really is something else. And like I want to be him for Halloween. Like that was like I remember that even my initial thought. I'm like, there are gonna be so many Halloween costumes about of Joe Exotic. And then
Yeah,
once you do, like you said, peel that layer back, you're just like, ooh, this really. If people have watched the entire series and they are still saying that, then that is like a red flag,
yeah,
because once you find out some of the stuff he's done and some of the stuff he's said and some of the way he treats things, then you will start to, be like, "Ooh, I feel even gross for laughing at this guy in the first place," So, but I kind of told Chase this like through text before this chat, and I said that he's kind of a great example of why some people who shouldn't be famous or shouldn't be followed, like why they are. And it's
Definitely.
kind of, thank God it's on a small scale where he's like not um running for president, but but like still it's just like, oh, like this is really clear as day why people follow some things that they do. um
but again, you hit the nail on the head. It's just like what I mean. Look at that whole situation you brought up and say that that's kind of another example of it. Like, it's not really about being liked anymore.
yeah,
I would say it's about being, relevant, having the eyes on you, whether it's
and
positive or
shocking
negative.
people.
Yeah, because I mean, if you ask me, a lot of it is to do with just like, especially people our age, that filter that you used to have before, like you wouldn't see certain things when you were a kid, you wouldn't be exposed to certain things. It's gone because of the internet.
Yeah,
Like, truthfully, I think that's the case.
yeah.
So like things that we have seen growing up in this, our entire lives just become normal to us, and we kind of play them off as such, even though they are pretty screwed up.
Right,
Like,
you're so right. Like we become desensitized.
exactly. I mean, you hear about, like, I hate to say it, but you hear about certain things that happen and like it just kind of brushes you off. But in reality, like people might have died, like things might have happened that were huge in other people's lives, but to us, it's just another news story because
You're so right.
because we hear so many of them now. And so like when you hear something like what this Tiger King is supposedly, like
Mhm.
you see the guy, you hear the marketing, you hear the buzz, and it's just like, oh, I gotta watch it now.
Yeah.
Based off what I've heard, I never would have thought that's what that thing was about.
Yeah,
That
right.
was shocking to hear that whole review.
Yeah.
And I just I didn't even hear what the thing was. And I've talked to people who've watched, and all they say is it's insane. You got to watch it.
Yeah.
That's all
Yeah.
they say. So
But like I said, I think the way people take it is kind of it speaks volumes as to, you know, how you interpret the chaos of it all, you know? So, but like we can go back and forth all day about how like you could really just like implement that example into like everyday life and it'll shock you forever. I don't know.
everything.
Yeah, it's cursed, but I don't know. It's like overall circling back, it's worth the watch. But I mean, just like Chase said, he hasn't gotten that like wow reaction yet.
Yeah, it hasn't
And
I feel like where I'm at in the second episode, I feel like there's the reveal is coming
it's brewing.
that I need for
Yeah.
like the end of the episode. So I'm definitely gonna stick with it and see what's gonna happen at the other side of it for sure.
Yeah. You have to let us know.
So if you had to give it, Bella, if you had to give Tiger King on Netflix, if you had to give it 1 to 5 stars, or actually no, I'm sorry, 0 to 5 stars, and you can use half stars if you'd like to. What would you give it?
Based on like
Pure enjoyment, watchability factor, recommend factor.
it's like a part of me after watching the entire thing wants to give it a 3.5.
Okay.
But I would say another part of me would argue that it's a 4 solely for like shock value and layers. But some might give it some people couldn't even get through the first episode and other people are already rewatching it. So it really depends on your personal preference. I think I'm gonna go with the solid 3.5 personally for me.
Okay, that's good though. High regard, no matter what. 3.5 or 4, whichever way you go. 3.5 is pretty good for that Netflix series. So if you guys out there, whether you're listening on audio or you're watching along with us on YouTube, let us know. Did you watch Tiger King? What did you think about it? Did you dig it like Bella did? Did you not like it as much? Did you not finish it? Let us know what you thought. Leave us a comment. Tweet at us if you'd like. That'd be a good thing to do. And also, while you're at it, if you're listening to us on audio, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Play, anything like that, go ahead and rate us 5 stars. Write us some nice words. It's a cool thing to do. Takes a couple seconds to do. Not too bad. Also, go subscribe to us at the YouTube channel, The Cheap Seats. You'll find videos like these, like Nobody's Home there. All sorts of different clip outs and things like that too. And then, of course, we're all over the social media, so just you can follow those on. Our tags are here. And thank you again for listening to us this far. We'll keep it going. Just on the general side, has there been anything you guys have like attempted to do in this past month that you like maybe like just attempted to do? No, is there anything that you've attempted to do that you've like either been meaning to try or that you like? Evan, I know you said like you ordered a bunch of books and things like that. Is there something that you've like been meaning to do, or something that you got a brown back around to doing, or even something? We'll take it this way: even something that you're happy that you don't have to do that now that this is happening. So, in any way you want to take it, something that you're glad that you no longer have to do, or something that you started doing that is like been good for you or fun for you, or at least keeping you busy.
Bella, you can go first.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. It's on the top of my head because have been a few things. Things I'm not doing right now, which it's like bittersweet, is applying for jobs because I was like so invested in doing that over the past few months. It's nice to take a break because it is stressful, but at the same time, I feel like not that I'm taking steps backward, but like whenever you're in that zone, you're really cranking that out. And now I think it might be a little hard to adjust to get back into once all this settles, but there are way worse things to be lacking. I
Mhm.
didn't have like a full paycheck that was coming in or whatever. So, and like that, like, that's not, I don't have a loss that way. So I'm fortunate in that way. But see, things I've been trying, I was trying to paint and like, you ever just realize that like, it's just not it. It's just like, I have some really good paintings that I'm proud of, but like, I was just really excited to see what I could create, and I was like thoroughly disappointed in myself every time. But I think that people who like make art feel that way. But I have tried to crochet, and I actually got like decent at it. So I think I'm gonna start a
Hey.
blanket,
Okay.
which I'm like very proud of myself. But like, don't be proud of me because it's not hard. um, and then I also bleached my hair in like a moment of stir craziness, a little bit of that a few days ago, and I just did these little pieces right here in the front, and
You're all girl interrupted on us.
yeah,
Love
but
it.
the issue is I bleached it, and then it pretty much like up on the top looked orange, and I had like a lot of anxiety. And then I went in with bleach some more because the reason I was stressed is because when are any of us going to be able to go to a hairdresser or barber in like the
Yeah,
next, like, we don't
do
know.
you have like did you get like into the barber or to your stylist or to a salon like at a good amount of time before this all broke down?
So
Or
I
does it like not even matter at this point?
no, dude, listen. So first of all, I want to say my hair is fine now. I toned it enough that it's not orange anymore, but that was a frightening moment. But the issue is I had a hair okay, listen. I had a hair appointment. It was like around like like March like 16th or something.
Okay.
And March 16th or 17th, and I was like, okay, cool. My mom and I are gonna go because it's like an hour away. It's like a whole commitment thing. We just go to this woman because she's awesome. And the thing is, I was like, okay, first of all, it'd be really nice to get this done, right? Because it's just like fresh, and I was going to be going to LA, so it didn't matter, blah blah blah. And the second thing was my hairdresser is pregnant, so whenever this is all said and done, she probably won't even be working. So I didn't go to the appointment because I had my friends who are in a band staying at my house, and I didn't want to be gone for like 4 or 5 hours of the day because like it
Sure.
takes long to do my hair. I didn't want to be gone all that time and leave them to like fend for themselves in the house. And in hindsight, I probably should have been a little more selfish, but like I enjoy their company, so like I was like very torn. But if
Listen, the
the
Jonas Brothers have gone through lots of things in their tenure. They've been through it all. They would have been okay in your house for a short amount of time.
yeah, they would
I
just need to know how to run the coffee machine.
Chase, I don't know about that, man. Bella keeps her house pretty hot. I think they would have been burning up.
Get the hell out.
Come on, man.
Figure
I
it
should have made a
out.
graphic. I didn't make a graphic without
Figure.
your name on it, so I can't. I mean,
I'm here. Just saying.
so
That
you're
was a good
saying,
joke.
man, that was good. No, I applaud you. I
Thank
applaud
you.
you.
Yeah, Evan, that was good.
Thank
Ev,
you.
Ev, what's I would like to know what has like the question Chase asked about what's something that you haven't had to do that you're like stoked about.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So the thing that I like, I'll try to answer all your questions there, Chase.
Okay.
The thing that I am happy I don't have to do anymore, and like in saying this, I understand that we all have to work and like we can't just sit at home all day. But to break up that monotony of like a 9 to 5 kind of thing that I've been living for the last 2 years has been honestly such a refreshing thing.
Pretty
Like being
sweet.
able to like being having to stay at home kind of sucks, but being able to not like go into work every day, stare at a computer all day, and just sit there. It's been really refreshing and kind of helps me mentally a lot. And you don't realize that when you're in the grind. That's why they call it the grind. You don't really like even know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So to escape that like forcibly,
Mhm.
it's still fine. But before all this, like, and to answer your question about something that I've been doing that like I want to do for a long time, I tried to get into like sports betting,
Okay.
but in a very strategic way. Like
Mhm.
I'm not just throwing money on random games. Like I had a whole spreadsheet. I had like I'm only doing this amount of money. I'm gonna
Mhm.
bet on this team. Like I'll pick all the matchups that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
And just like with painting bells, I suck. Like, it's not it. It's just not it. I lost so much money. I'm not saying that you suck at painting. Maybe you're great at painting. I suck at sports betting, at least with basketball games, because I tried. I had like for sure things. I don't know if it was just a combination of things I was doing, but I lost a little money, not a lot of money, a little money.
Just a
a
little,
lot.
just a little bit.
And I lost my
I'm a
and I lost
follow
my
up.
job. So like that was a good back to back. I'm great though. I'm fantastic.
Not bad, man. Not
Doing great.
bad.
Doing great. But yeah,
No, I mean,
I was just gonna say too, like it's just been great to be able to really like Chase and we've always talked about doing something like this, you know, and Chase is the one that's really taken the initiative with this one, but it's been good to hop on like a wrestling podcast and this podcast and just kind of explore that creative side of yourself too, because you know, it's something that you really gotta fulfill in your everyday life, and I didn't realize that until I went 2 years without having that, you know, that itch scratched in that sense. So yeah, I'm loving this. So we're doing this now, so that's a great thing.
it only took a global pandemic for my friends to realize I was right
Scratch their itches.
about hanging out. So that's cool, man.
I do think that's going to be a big result of all this, though. Sorry to interrupt you, Chase.
No, I think so too. I mean, I think even I want to go back to things that you were both talking about, and I'll answer the question myself too.
Yeah.
But just like both of you said really interesting things about Evan, you said about like sports betting.
Yeah.
That's something I had started doing too. Like I had started getting into basketball mostly.
Yeah.
I never really bet on anything else, but I would bet on basketball pretty much nightly. And you know, usually, I mean, I think I had at the end of the day probably lost. Then I think I'd won out. Basically for at the end of the day, but it was just like so fun, you know. You'd lose and it'd be like whatever, but have a good time doing it.
How do you sports bet if there's no sports going on?
That's the thing I was going to ask Evan about. So they have like Rocket League tournaments still going on.
Okay.
They have like esports tournaments, things like going on still, right? So like they'll put those on like the draft apps, so you can like bet on those for the time being. But Evan, with everything being gone as it is, and we don't really know about return dates or all, sports betting, a pretty big hit that it's taken. Do you think it's going to change at all when it comes back? Because are you going to get back into it when it comes back? What do you think, man? Where's your head at as far as that goes?
Yeah, I think you'll see it pretty much stay the same. Honestly, I think it's a pretty new system because they're just legalizing sports, but like some states still don't have legal sports betting.
Right.
So I think it's going to stay remotely the same and, you know, change as time goes. But I personally will not be getting myself back into NBA at least, because I am very much of the mindset that I like to do things because it gives me reason to do them. So betting on a basketball game gave me a reason to watch that basketball game.
Okay.
And thus I watched a great basketball game most of the time. And then if I won, you know, it's great. But if I lost, which I did most of the time, it's not so great. So the only reason I say that is because those people in Vegas, they know what they're doing a lot more than you do.
True.
And I mean, when they set those odds, whether it be on sports, they set odds on the Oscars and they usually get them right. They set odds on, we were talking about wrestling. They set odds on wrestling matches.
Yeah.
Granted, those are predetermined, but like they will shift at the last hour and then they will always be right. So
right. Mm-hmm.
I just don't think I can outsmart anybody in that game.
At least not now.
Yeah, at least not right now. I'm gonna try again when the NFL comes back around, because I think I'm a little bit better with picking NFL games because I watch a lot of NFL rather than the NBA. Sure. I watch the NBA, but the NFL like has always been my bread and butter. So yeah, I'm gonna hold off just because I don't want to go down that path of gambling. It's kids. It's not a good thing. Don't gamble.
PSA from that. PSA from Evan.
Viewers
what are you going to do now? You have been running a fantasy football league for a decade.
Yeah, I've been playing for over a decade, but The current
think
iteration of the league is 8 years old, and then like it's like basically I call it like before the NFL merged, it became the Super Bowl. Like there were still champions
right.
before
Yeah.
that,
But they just
but
weren't Super Bowl champions.
they weren't Super Bowl champions. So like total like 12 years. This current
Okay.
iteration 8 years. Yeah.
So I think I played maybe 7-8 years with you.
Yeah,
maybe.
you played the majority. Yeah, you did.
And then I backed out because 1, I'm not good at fantasy football.
Hey, there you go.
2, I'm not good at drafting for fantasy football. 3, I lose interest very easily and things of that nature when I don't do well. And then I just would pretty much crap out by like week 5. I'd be like, nope. Who wants my like best players? But what are you gonna do? If you don't have any sort of fantasy football this year? Like, are you like that's gonna, because I mean like that's your thing. Like when I think of you, like I think of fantasy football because like that's like what you've been like real hard on for, like you said, like 12 years you've been doing it.
Yeah.
Is there something you're gonna try to like fill the void of? Or are you gonna like try to figure out a way to get some sort of fill there? Like you're gonna try to do it with like Madden or something like that? Like what are you thinking about?
So I wouldn't try to do it with Madden or anything, but
okay.
The only reason I've ever liked to do fantasy football, again, it goes back to that same way why I like to bet on NBA games, is because it gave us a reason as friends to get back together to do something. And that's why, like, even though like you're not in the league anymore, I still like, hey, the party's this day. Please come by if you're free, and I'll invite anyone who's ever been in the league. Like, hell, Bella, if you want to come, you're welcome to. I like getting all.
If it happens this year,
yeah, and that's the thing. Even if it doesn't, like, hopefully along the lines of the things that we're dealing with now, this global pandemic, that we're at least able to see each other.
Yeah.
So the only thing I would do is I would just try to be active in that space that, you know, all my friends interact with in that fantasy football realm, and try to, you know, still have that same interaction that we do every year, because we get to play fantasy football. Everyone comes to my house. Like some of us live in Florida, some of us live in Pittsburgh, some of us live here still in Hermitage, Pennsylvania. Like we're pretty spread out now. So to get everyone together for something, it means a lot to me. You know, I don't like to forget about all those people and like the friends that you've had. They're still your friends. So I just hope that even if fantasy football doesn't happen, you might have to talk me down from my 1-story roof. I wouldn't even die, but I'll just sprain an ankle or something, maybe.
I don't know if you even would sprain an ankle.
Like Evan,
you might just like feel as like
just jump, you'll be fine. Like
you might just like feel static in your ankles for a little bit.
Talk me down, Chase. Like care for me.
The fire department comes and everything.
They just yell at me.
No, that's great. I mean, I surely hope for your sake. I mean, I hope for the world's sake that but this shutdown until April 30th is kind of the final shutdown. Or maybe there's not like a long extension after that. So just because like you really notice it. Evan and I were talking about this on Nobody's Home, airing weekly on the Cheap Seats. We were talking about the fact that when you don't see entertainment things like that, like sports or other sort of things, you really notice it. You really hit the hole, especially if you're like on social media or anything like that, Twitter, Instagram. You really like see the void of not seeing any sort of new entertainment happening. Like me personally, like I love like one of the things I love doing. Like I'll answer that question. Like one of the things I love doing was I would do it weekly, is go to the movies by myself. Just go to the movies by myself, and see something, whether it was like after work or something like that, or maybe I was able to sneak in before work. But that would be my thing, and that's the thing I miss most. Like just being able to go to the movie theater. And we live in Middle America technically, so like our ticket prices are $10 for movies, which is a lot better than it is most of the places around the world. So like, but now we have those movies that were in theaters and now they're on demand and on digital and things like that. And it's like I don't want to pay $20 to like watch I don't think I'd pay $20 to watch this movie in my bedroom by myself.
Well, yeah, that's the question I was going to ask you, is you see the difference in going to the, it's not the movie necessarily. Sometimes it is, don't get me wrong. Sometimes it's a movie you just really gotta see.
Right.
But it's the experience.
It's the experience,
yeah,
dude.
Exactly.
100%. I love And I love going to see a nice, just like, whether or not the movie is great or not, but if it's like nice and tame and it's chill and there's like a couple people in the audience to where you can get like a good enough reaction around people, I love that. It's my favorite thing to do of all time. So that's something I've definitely missed, and that I can't wait to get back to. I've also tried to like beat my Bop It record. I have a Bop It, like one of the new versions of like the Bop It. I'm trying to beat the record on it. Pending results.
Wait, what's your record right now?
I think the record on it's like 140 something. I
hate to tell you, but I could beat that.
I think you probably could.
I set the record at one point on that.
You set the record at like 1 something, and then I set it after you.
Oh.
And I'm just waiting to beat it now.
I love Bop It.
I'm gonna hunker down. I'll leave it on your doorstep one day, so like maybe you could like play it
on the park bench.
Fine, I was on the park bench with the bread, next to the bread.
Bella, I'm just going back to one thing you said during your run. You were talking about just like applying for jobs. Now, when things like start to go back to normal, we'll say, do you think that that's going to be something that you're going to be able to like slide back into easily, or do you think you're going to have to like, because I know you've been grinding at it already. Do you think you're going to have to grind harder, or do you think it'll be easier coming out the other end of it?
That's a really good question, and it's something that I've been trying to predict, but because of the way, like even our highest professional people in this country, the doctors, the people in the government, like they can't predict anything. So I can't sit here and say that I can predict anything. That being said, I have to very quickly come to the realization that my plans for moving were definitely going to be have to be adjusted, because it's going to take a long time for these companies that I'm applying for to, go back to the way that they were functioning before.
Right.
And they probably had pay cuts or laid people off, or whatever. So that they're going to set, like, that's going to set precedent over hiring new people, I think. Or what's going to happen is that they're going to get back into the swing of things, and it's going to have there's going to be such high production because they're trying to get back into like the fluidity of what they had before and back into like the just pushing out everything they had before, that they're going to need more help. So it's going to be either me having to really wait on them wanting to hire people again, or it's going to be, holy crap, they need to get people very quickly. But also, the thing that I think everyone has to realize, and with what, like, any situation you're in, is that, like, okay, say this pandemic ends in May. I can't just move to Los Angeles in May or June. I'm probably gonna have to wait like a month or two, because like whenever like things are like whenever you're done quarantining, that doesn't mean it's gone. It just means that you don't have to stay in your house. So it would be very irresponsible for us to go and function like we did before, to go to bars, go to restaurants, go to concerts and stuff, because that's how we're going to get another surge of this virus. So I just have to be aware that, like, okay, Bella, you worked really hard for this. You already have your name in like a lot of people's heads out in Los Angeles for jobs. You are just going to have to be patient and see how it works, because everyone who's out there, everyone who's across the country, across the world, no one knows how they're going to get back into their job, how it's going to adjust and stuff. So right now I'm just going to try to stay patient. Maybe when jobs open up around here, I can like start working even just to get some extra cash in my pocket. So whenever I do move, I have a little bit more flexibility. But yeah, I think my answer would probably be relatable to a lot of other people, where it's just like, dude, well, who the hell knows? Which is, we could get into this like really deeply too. I'm just very fortunate that it's not make or break for me. Like I'm living at home right now. My parents, we're okay right now, but like I just need to acknowledge that there's like major privilege in me not being majorly stressed or feeling a whole bunch of pressure. So yeah, that's just something to think about. But dude, like at the end of the day, I never know I'm really just talking out of my butt all the time. I really never know anything.
No, that was actually wonderfully said, Bella.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing with us. That was very nice.
Thank
And I
you.
guess I will open something that you set up into there, kind of as we kind of close out here. Going back, are you guys like? Do you think for yourselves and for other people? Because I've seen some things like, all right, guys, like we just got to wait out till day X so we
Yep.
can do thing Y in like congregation or things. Do you think that there's going to be a surge of people just saying like, all right, like we're out, like they told me I can leave the house, like I'm calling everybody I know, making sure they're at the bar this weekend, making sure they're going to that concert, making sure this or that? Or do you think there's going to be more of like even in I want your answers for yourselves too?
Yeah.
Is there going to be like more of a slow approach, like I'll get a feeler for things, like I'll see how things are, I'm not going to dive headfirst into things, maybe I'll like kind of chill on this like back end and then get into things? What do you say?
Yeah, Evan, take the floor on that one.
Yeah, I would definitely say that there's going to be a cautious approach to getting back into the world after all this. I mean, no one has ever dealt with something like this before. Not even just saying
No precedent. Yeah.
people our age, but it's across the board. So, but what I will say, and Bella, I kind of wanted to ask you about this too. Like after going through this, like, and at least for me, like one of the things that like my major goals this year was to like just get out there, just go do more stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like with friends, with family, just instead of just kind of wasting away weekends, like go places, go do things. So like that's one thing that I'm really going to be eager to do cautiously. But like when all
Yeah.
this is over, and I think Bella, you also mentioned like the medical professionals and all those people on the front lines fighting this and developing stuff for this. Those are the people we have to listen to at the end of the day. So
Right.
if they come out and say like it's probably not a good idea to be doing this for another month, it sucks. But I'm not going to go to the bar just for a drink with my buddies when
As much as you want to, yeah.
you do want to, but you just got to be smart. Like whatever we have to do as a country and as like the world to get this virus, at least like, put down a little bit, like so it's not as rapid.
Yeah.
I really don't care. But
Well, Evan, you're bringing up a point that I was thinking about recently that makes me nervous, and it's that right now most of the country is in a quarantine, and then some places are like technically shut down, so where like you can't leave the house after 8, or you really can't leave unless you're doing absolutely essential shopping and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So like this is like definitely a higher, like it's like higher pressure for us to stay in, and we're all like like not all of us, but most of us are trying to abide by the rules. I know we all three of us are, but some people suck, but
I
the
get
thing
really
is,
frustrated when I see like I don't know, like I'm looking at something and then it's just like people are hanging out with each other like in like a mass quantity. I'm just like, what
just because
like,
they're in a house doesn't mean that it's safe. Like
crash.
it doesn't make sense. But I'm just very nervous that when they lift the like lockdown,
Mhm.
I don't think that they should go from lockdown to straight cold turkey us going out in the world. I think it still needs to be they still need to implement a quarantine, so we're still not going out or hanging out with people all the time or different people all the time. I think we could ease into it, and like as long as there's real honest communication with knowing that your friends have stayed in and you've stayed in, and you slowly integrate yourselves back into communication and hang out and stuff, then I think that will be okay. But what I'm nervous about is that people are just going to take everything with a grain of salt and sprint to the bars, sprint to the restaurants, have house parties, because everyone's so antsy and everyone's so ready to like be social again, and it's like as an extrovert, like that's literally all I'm like gunning for. But like, that makes me so nervous though, because
Yeah,
that could really just start like a snowball effect of this all happening over again, and
sure.
you just simply can't trust other people. Like I could trust you guys to like make the right decision, but you can't trust like the masses, because people are watching people die so easily, people on ventilators, people just just suffering, and they're still cool with like going to hang out with people like very loosely. So
And it's not like it's in the earlier stages of this, I guess, where people thought like, okay, well maybe like if you're in this demographic or if you're this, you're like more susceptible.
right.
It seems like it's kind of coming down the line and affecting every single group that it hits, no matter.
Well, my
No matter-
friend,
no matter what.
she's one of my best friends. She was my roommate in college. She's 22, and she tested positive for it today. Um, and she was living in New York, and now she's home now. But she's smart enough to quarantine herself without
Mhm.
even being tested whenever she moved home because she knew the risks, and her dad is compromised. So she did that, but it's like, thank God that she didn't have any severe symptoms or anything. She truly just got tested to ease her mind, but like, just think about like how bad that could have been, you know? And
Sure.
she's 22. Like,
Yeah.
it really doesn't discriminate. I mean, it might like it's obviously more dangerous to people who are immunocompromised or older, but like
Mhm.
it doesn't like this is why they just tell people to stay home. You know what I mean? This is
Right.
just point blank why they do it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and I'll just echo what you two said. Like, I also think that the right thing, for sure, the right thing to do is to ease in and to I can't kind of take these past. I mean, however long it ends up being together, if it's a couple months, whatever. Take that time and kind of um, remember it, and the fact
Mhm.
that like what you were doing during that time, because like I'm sure that we'd love to like the three of us. We'd love to be hanging out with each other, drinking some beers, hanging out, watching a movie, just kicking back, like
yeah,
messing around, like having a good time. Um, and I do think that there are those people, especially the people who right now are just like, oh well, this doesn't really like pertain to me. Like I can hang out with my friends and like we'll probably be fine, type of thing.
yeah,
There are those people who are just, there are plenty of those people who are also just gonna be like, well, I've been waiting to go to this concert since blah 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 this time last year, so I'm making it happen type of
yeah,
thing. In that sense, I'm definitely nervous, but
yeah.
I have faith in like folk like you guys and myself who are just like
Oh.
kind of taking it easy and taking it like right and doing the right steps and things like that and aren't being like real sickos.
Yeah.
I did see Evan the other day. His eyes are getting real big.
I saw Evan walking, so yeah.
I gave him
you.
Purell though. I gave him Purell
You
That's
upon,
sweet.
upon exchange.
Gave
That's
me
really
Purell,
generous.
and I saw Bella in the park.
Yeah,
Well,
we were
like,
walking. We were 6 feet apart. We were walking though.
We
There you go.
We were, and I mean, like you've even seen it with like the videos of those spring breakers that were like,
Oh God,
I've been
Evan.
waiting for this.
If I get the corona, I'll get the
forever."
corona.
No offense,
Yeah.
but like you can go to Florida anytime.
You gotta follow it
Hey,
inside.
like,
You
what are
gotta
you
follow it
doing? Like, what do you mean you've been waiting forever? Like, no, you haven't. You've been waiting
For, like,
since,
2 months.
Yeah, like my mom booked this trip 2 months ago for me and Stacy, and we're gonna go. Like, it's gonna be great. And I'm just like, no, you're fucking dumb.
Evan, did you
What
see
are
the
you doing?
video? And like someone commented that every single person in that video looked like a character from like Mad TV or whatever.
I saw the one, and it was like every person in this video is a Chad, and that's
Yeah.
not like it was just like the guys like, no, we're gonna party. It's like I'm
Go
gonna
on,
party
bro.
too. I'm a party right here
Oh,
in my apartment.
I got
with
this.
my
That's
candle.
right.
I've got been playing plenty of playing plenty of golf simulators on my Xbox and drinking beers. So I think that's
You're practically outside.
Is that a
yeah. I'm
Yingling?
practically outside. Exactly. What's that?
Is that a Yingling?
This is a Yingling. This is not an ad, but this is a Yingling traditional lager.
You're supposed to hold it up like this, like a
Hey, Yingling.
like a makeup thing.
Yingling sponsor us.
Yeah.
That's an easy
Sponsor us soon.
Yeah.
We need it. We're not working.
Look at him. Look at him.
We're not making any money.
Please be careful. You were gripping that so hard it was about to
Just like about
smash.
to break
be
my hand.
careful.
Oh, it hurts.
But I think that the three of us have been good as far as social distancing goes, and we'll
Yeah.
see how things go for the rest of the month here of April.
Yeah. And I'll say one
and-
thing real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Like as much as like it sincerely sucks, and this is like a big dent in a lot of people's incomes and a lot of their stability, I think if you have like the if you have the cushion to like to think a little differently and change your perspective, I think like when are we ever going to get this personal time to like really expand and like explore what we might be interested in, or like what we might want to do, or like kind of like revamp maybe the way that we see the world, the way we like want to move forward with the world. I think this is like this is probably one of the only times in life we'll get to do this, when you're pretty much forcefully doing it. So I think that like as much as it sucks waking up and not having like direction in your life, like I think there's like some really weird silver lining where like we're waking up and not being forced to do anything right now except to be ourselves and like explore ourselves. And I think there's a lot of potential there. Like I said, my art career is down the drain, but like that's at least like crossing something off the list, right? So
Yeah.
so my point is, it's just like if you have the cushion to have the silver lining,
Right.
see the silver lining, then I'd say roll with that, because it's probably going to get you to the end of April, you know.
Another
Hopefully.
solid statement from Bella Spatafor. I don't know what's going on today. We might
lost
have to
her.
give her own show on the Cheap Seats Network.
That's
just
I don't
Bella.
like that idea.
What if we call it like Bella Let's Talk? Would that be
No, but that was just gonna say, because the podcast would end up being like 3 hours long. No one wants
Hey,
that.
somebody's gonna listen to it. Somebody's gonna listen
I
to
don't
our
want
podcast.
those people to be listening.
Evan, do you got anything for the people?
Yeah, Evan,
You got
finish
anything?
this up.
My name's Bella Spatafora. I like soccer. And I have long hair.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
I
echo everything she said. You know, use this time, be creative. You know, come up with things and try things that you wouldn't have before, and hopefully, you know, we all come out of this a little better than we went into it.
Yeah, Evan, I hope all your itches are scratched, my dude. Or not get some cream for that.
I don't like how you said that, and especially the fact you just added the word cream in there. But
There's something saying about you getting cream for it.
yeah,
So.
I care about you. That's why.
Yeah, sure, okay.
I care about both of your itches equally. I care about.
I don't have itches. I don't.
Okay.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Okay.
It's not a literal itch. It's a proverbial itch.
No, bro.
It's like the itch you need to get a beer.
Evan, it seems like you're kind of getting angry.
I am, because I'm not an itchy person. I have great skin.
You do have really great skin.
I do.
It's thin though in some places.
I don't got eczema.
You have thin back skin. That's what
I
we
do.
know.
I do have thin back skin. You know this. You've slapped me on the back many times.
It's true.
And I threw you against a locker in high school for
It's true. You did do that to me. You did do that.
Yes, I did. So the moral of this episode of the cheap seats is if you have thin back skin, don't go slapping it.
That's true. That's a good point.
That's the title. Don't go slapping the thin
Don't go
back skin.
That's a good point. Well, we'll definitely. I want to thank you two before we sign off here. I want to thank you, Evan and Bella. I want to thank you for joining me today on the Cheap Seats.
Anytime.
As this show goes, I'm sure that you'll be seeing Evan and Bella back here for sure. Whether we're quarantined or not quarantined or living in the same state or not, they'll be back on the show for sure.
That's right.
There was a lot of fun with these two goons. I'm sure they'll probably be back on. I'm going to book you two for next week. Is that cool?
I'll have to check my schedule.
Okay,
I'm good. Now I have nothing to do.
Thank you, Evan. Heard that. Me and Evan are going to have a great time.
3 hours spent.
But like I said earlier in the show, if you're listening to us on audio, thank you very much. Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcast, Banker, all these other cool things you can listen to us on. Anchor. We're on all of these websites. Go to those. Leave us a nice review if the option is available. Give us 5 stars if the option is available. Share us with your friends and your families and your homies, all those people, even your pets. Your pets like that. Your pets like sounds too. Okay.
Yes, they do.
Don't think that they don't care about sounds, because your pets care about sounds. Okay.
They do.
The Beach Boys did an entire album about it. It's true. No, so figure it out. Share us. And we'd love to. And if on the today, the visual way, on the YouTubes or something else, or watch one of our clips, thanks a lot. It really means a lot to us. Really feels good. Subscribe to us.
You're welcome.
Throw us a likes up. Just view it. We like the views. We like the likes. We like all that good stuff. We like you guys. That's why we're coming back. The Cheap Seats is coming back next week, this weekend maybe. We're gonna do a watch party one of these days where we just like have a good time and bring in a whole bunch of people to hang out and feel good and do some good stuff while we're all locked down as such. So hopefully we can give you guys some source of entertainment. I hope you enjoyed listening to this first episode of The Cheap Seats. Again, my name is Chase Brown for Evan Boffman and Bella Spadafora. If you're ever looking for someplace to go, join us in The Cheap Seats because there's plenty of room. Have a good one, guys.